Yo, what's going on YouTube? It is your boy GZTV. I know it's like super echoey and stuff like that. I have cleared out my room pretty much for the semester. I have to take a couple things home tomorrow, but I'm moving out. We're done with college for the summer, so hopefully the content will probably boost up a little bit as well. We'll see what happens. But right now, we have two videos coming out today because there's been a bunch of really good NBA games on today. I'm definitely going to talk about those when I get the chance. But we have the 84th overall episode of The Sopranos. It's the 7th episode of the second half of the show's 6th season, the 19th of the season overall. We're narrowing it down. I think we have 2 episodes left, which I'm probably just going to finish out early this week. And then, as we go on through the week, I'm going to finish off my Scratch It poster. I'm not sure what we're going to do from there. Might just stink bug on my window. That's kind of gross. But I might start just like watching the TV shows all week. I'm not sure what the summer schedule is going to look like, but we're going to go through real quick. There's a character that isn't going to make an appearance on the show anymore, we were told, and there's a lot that happened. It's a pretty eventful episode. Again, just narrowing down the show. After this, I have to get to like an hour and a half of studying, but after that, I'm probably going to chill and watch playoff basketball for the rest of the night. I know I sound like kind of a slacker in that way, but I have 2 finals tomorrow, and then I'm heading out. So let's get into what happens. So Tony goes with Silvio and Bobby to a sit down with Phil in New York. They're discussing some business ventures, trying to negotiate. So he offers a compromise about the asbestos removal, but Phil rejects it out of hand. That's what they're talking about. That's obviously been a big thing that the show's trying to center itself on, is this whole asbestos removal service. That's super echoey. I really apologize. But in response, Tony takes Phil's men, Coco and Butchie, off the payroll from another construction project. So there's these no-shows that they're gonna have now. Sorry, the people didn't show up with the checks and all this stuff. People weren't working, So when they hear this from the foreman, they viciously beat him up and steal the cash in his wallet again. It's just some classic mafia shit. They don't know who to blame, so they find the guy that's managing the build site, and they just beat his ass. Okay, it's pretty classic. Obviously, we've seen this on the show many times. It's not unfamiliar territory. Yeah, a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff going on here. So a drunken Coco notices Meadow in a restaurant, and this is where things get hella weird. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with this Coco guy? This is a guy that's kind of emerging on the scene of the show, and you don't really want him to continue. So he touches her cheeks and makes some lewd comments, like, I can add some cream to that face. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? We are talking about the boss of New York's daughter. Like, are you kidding me? But she reluctantly tells her father, she's like, I don't really want to. Like, she kind of knows the implications of this. She knows the lifestyle that her father lived. She doesn't want this guy to get hurt. But enraged by this, Tony finds Coco and pistol whips and curb stomps him. That's one of the most brutal fucking scenes I have seen on this entire show. It's pretty crazy here. This assault opens a deep rift between the Soprano and Lupertazzi families, and this, obviously isn't the first time this has happened. They've had their problems, since the show started becoming a thing. Since they even mentioned the New Jersey people and they started to become prominent on the show, it's always been a thing. So little Carmine tells Tony that he will once again broker a truce meeting with Phil, who has shut down one of their joint construction projects. It's just a game of revenge at this point. They're just trying to get back at each other, and it really sucks to see this because these are business partners. These are guys that want to do things together. What the hell? Okay, but yeah, obviously he did the truce before they wrapped it up. It went well, but Tony admits, I lost it. Timing couldn't have been worse. It's like, yeah, why would you do this to my daughter when we're literally having disagreements? Like, this really setting him over edge. So, Phil refuses to meet with them when they arrive at his home. From behind a second-floor window, he spews profanities as they walk away, and that seems pretty pussy to me. I'm not going to lie to you. Obviously, he's old. He's not going to be able to fend for himself, and he's royalty. He's a boss. People are protecting this guy, but, you're an asshole. I don't know. It really made me mad when Phil did this because you couldn't tell them to their face, I don't want to meet with you guys. I don't know. It's a really weird thing. Weird situation. So, FBI agents Harris and Goddard visit Satrial's and ask Tony to look at some photos. Tony identifies Ahmed and Muhammad, so that thing's kind of going on in the background, they're trying to find the war on terror, because at the time there's the war on Iraq in real life. I don't remember if that's what it was. Obviously, 9/11 still had its fallout for years and years, because this was 2007. But when Dr. Melfi, meanwhile, sees we're moving on. Sorry, I'm kind of like this is a very scattered episode. Like they're touching on a lot of storylines, and I actually really like that. And I feel like shows tend to do that as they're closing out seasons, the series in general. So when Dr. Melfi sees Dr. Kupferberg, Elliot, obviously, he shares with her the results of a recent study which has shown that sociopaths are not helped by talk therapy, but rather only further enabled by it, perhaps even sharpening their skills as con men in the process. And he's using this to kind of like gaslight her and to kind of make her feel bad about things because she obviously has a con man, she obviously has a mafia boss as a client. So Meadow, meanwhile, reveals that her new boyfriend is Patrick Parisi, Patsy's eldest son, and that inspired by him, she has decided to enter law school. Obviously, she had all these options she had to weigh out. She had to kind of like assess herself, like assess her options and be like, well, yeah, picking law school, especially because Patsy's eldest son does, and she's inspired by him. You know, he's seeing things in his life, and he complains that it has grievances towards her, all this stuff. So now we get to AJ, who has been one of the biggest focuses on the show, and it's kind of a crazy turn that this show has taken. So he remains depressed. You know, he's moved by W.B. Yeats. That's funny. Apocalyptic poem, The Second Coming. He tries to kill himself in the family pool. Like, he is very easily influenced. He's very naive. I wouldn't say he's like delusional. I don't even know what you would call this. Why is there? My head hurts. But he tries to kill himself. He with one foot tied by a rope to a cinder block and with a plastic bag over his head, he jumps into the pool. Luckily, his dad was like coming back for lunch or whatever the hell he was doing. Saw his son. He was like, "What the fuck?" But the rope is too long to keep him submerged. And some people thought that was like his way of like sending a message. He didn't actually want to kill himself. He just kind of wanted attention and wanted people to like watch over him. But no, I feel like he is genuinely depressed. Obviously, he had a lot of influence based on this little poem he read. But he struggles. He can neither drown nor save himself, so it's kind of annoying for him. Tony happens to come home. He's hearing shouts. He goes out, checks it out. He runs and jumps, wearing a suit and tie to the pool, really showing how much he cares about AJ. And AJ's kind of had his doubts about his parents and like how much they care about him. But no, they genuinely care about this kid. And Meadow kind of tells him, has a talk and like, you are the most important. You are the son of a mob boss. That's like one of the most important children in the country. Like, come on. So he saves AJ and hauls up the cinder block. At first, he is shocked and furious, but AJ is sobbing. He like realizes he needs to have a change of heart. He realizes he needs to change his ways as a father. He cradles his son in his lap. Come on, baby. You're all right, baby. Which is kind of like corny and kind of cliche because I feel like Tony's trying to just kind of put on this caring father character and it's kind of awkward. But at the same time, you do have to kind of reassure your kids when they're going through stuff like this and not talk shit on them, which is really fucked up. Like, your son tries to kill himself and you just have mean things to say. Like, that just doesn't make sense. But AJ is put on Valium and admitted to a psychiatric ward. So at a session with his therapist and his parents, he speaks of resentments going back to second grade and quotes his grandmother at the end of her life. It's all a big nothing. Again, a very easily influenced kid. He's hearing things around him. He's hearing what like the elites, I guess, in his family have to say, like all the higher up people, and he just takes it and runs with it. The session occurs just after Tony's assault on Coco. As he listens, he notices one of Coco's bloody teeth in the cuff of his pant leg, which I thought was kind of a funny little detail they added there. Tony and Carmela both feel guilty about the attempted suicide, and each blames the other. So this kind of causes a fight, which is kind of immature of the two as a couple. Like, what are we doing here? Your son just almost died, and you have to get into a fight over it. So Tony scornfully rejects Dr. Murphy's suggestion that AJ was calling for help, and at some level knew the rope was too long. He knew, like, and now that he knows this, and now he kind of like gets what's going on, he's like, well, I don't really feel bad for this kid, and I kind of like wish I didn't raise him this way. Wish he didn't turn out the way he did. He could just be a fucking idiot. Historically, that's been the case. I mean, again, he always has these backhanded things like, get your fucking shit together. I have this house for us, and here you are, sitting on your ass, sitting on web calls, getting depressed, trying to kill yourself. But he tells her about his insight on peyote. I saw that this and everything we experience is not all there. There's something else. There's like maybe an alternate universe, and obviously that's pretty normal for people to be on drugs and to kind of act like this. But yeah, obviously, not much to say. Kelly Lombardo Moltisanti makes her last run in the episode, who's the widow of Christopher Moltisanti. Kind of similar to like Johnny Sack's wife. You know, since those super important characters aren't around, there's no point of putting these other characters around, so they just kind of get their last runs there. But yeah, last 2 episodes are coming up. I'm gonna watch that one tonight at some point whenever I get the time. I should have plenty of time. I mean, I'm kind of chilling for the rest of the night, watching some playoff basketball. Bucks and Pacers is uh, happening right now as we're making the video. But leave a like, comment, subscribe. Gonna be super interesting to see how AJ deals with himself in the psych ward. You know, the war between the Sopranos and the Lupertazzi. Sorry, got the hiccups I just ate not too long ago. Yeah, I might have a John Morant video coming out on like Tuesday.